What is up, everybody? Good morning, boys and girls. It is Saturday, June 26th, and Saturday, the date is really irrelevant. That's just a timestamp thing for us. But what is most important is that it is Saturday, and that means it's another edition of Brewed Bets, where the coffee is strong, but the bets are stronger. As always, we are presented by Pale Horse Coffee. We haven't been back on an episode of Brewed Bets since the last time we did it when JT was heading down to the Outer Banks and we were able to meet each other. JT, how'd that trip go?
It was good. Had a nice little relaxing week at the beach, and the great thing about that trip is I not only stopped in that day, I stopped in on the way back and got another coffee for the road trip. But I have two bags of coffee, so this morning I'm drinking some Pale Horse Salty's caramel with a little bit of almond milk. So
Hmm.
it, that trip got me a lot of coffee, which is always a good thing.
Love that. And it was fun to see the process in-house. The
Hmm.
what they do, if y'all have not had the opportunity, I know some of our fan base is in Pennsylvania. Some of us are locally here in Chesapeake where Pale Horse is located, but you can always find them online at palehorsecoffee.com. The cool thing was to see their operation because we were told that typically on a Saturday morning, there's a line outside the door when they open at 8 a.m.
Hmm.
And for a coffee shop, it seems kind of odd, right? I mean, unless it's like some Starbucks in the middle of New York City, I don't think really of like a big waiting line for Starbucks or for a
Hmm.
coffee shop. But I tell you what, it was raining that morning and we got there and I would say there's about 4 or 5 people bearing the elements just waiting for this place to open so they could go inside and get some coffee.
Yeah, that was impressive to see that they have a dedicated group of customers that
Mhm.
they'll come out rain or shine, and they're there to support every weekend.
Absolutely. And we love blasting out our sponsors here on Brood Bets. And I just want to throw out one more thing, JT, you may have seen, I'm not sure, but I follow them and get their alerts on Facebook. And they launched a video yesterday that dropped hint that they would be branching out and pretty soon we will have Pale Horse whiskey.
I did not see that.
Yeah,
I
little
missed that.
Facebook watch video. We know they already have the coffee, they already have their own line of cigars, but they will eventually be branching out and providing us with a Pale Horse's their own whiskey. They're gonna do that. So I don't know. Maybe we need to get a distilled bets going on or something. I'm not sure, but we are not here to talk liquor. That is Friday night's episodes when we do press break the off season. Feel free to check that out. Fully interactive. It's just an immersive experience. We let anybody and everybody in as long as you keep your mouth a little clean. And we just have a good time. But that's not tonight. This is Brood Bets, and we're here to make money to fund what we do on Friday nights. So last time we went out, we're making our way back. We're making our way back. Look, I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. Right now, we're 28 and 32, but that was off of a big weekend last week. We netted 7 wins as a unit. I went 4-2. You went 3-3. So we're bringing it back. We're 28 and 32 on the year. And look, if y'all are out there, it's okay to have favorites. If you like the way I bet a little bit better than how you like JT and vice versa, that's fine. If you've been going with me lately, you're on a big winning streak. If you've been going with JT, it could be better. But the bottom
And
line is that as
uh,
a
we,
unit, we're winning each week.
yeah, we can be honest here. I've been pretty bad, but I'm starting to bring things back. I went 500. I think I'm 500 for 2 weeks in a row now. So I'm
Yeah,
starting to get back on the winning side of things, and we're just going to keep rolling forward so that we're both having positive weeks.
that's exactly what we like to do. So typically we would start here with the 3-2-1, and we'll still start with the 3-2-1. But I'm going to do things a little differently. I'm going to do something that I think every bettor has done in their life, and that is do absolutely no research and just pick games that look good for no reason because you're on a heater. And look, I am. I think I've hit 4-2 2 weeks in a row. And I've been, well, actually, it's got to be more than that because I haven't had a losing week in almost a month of shows.
Yep.
So
Uh,
I'm feeling pretty hot. I'm feeling pretty confident. So I will try to, because this is a gambling show and people are, potentially investing money in a risk. Um, I will give a little bit of background as to why I think, but they are not going to be detailed like they normally are, just because Brandon, he's on a heater and he's feeling good. So we're going to go today with the Chicago White Sox minus a run and a half. I'm going to take the Rockies on the money line. If you want to call that an upset, you can. They're playing the Brewers, and I guess you could consider a win for Colorado to be an upset there today for sure. But there's just something about it. Red Sox money line I'm going to take as well. I did have the run line. Um, but the run line was minus 175. One thing you'll notice with me, JT, and those out there that listen and follow the show, I typically don't mind laying some juice
Hmm.
if I know I'm going to get the win, because at that point, the juice doesn't really matter. Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, it would be nice to bet 100 to win 115. But in this particular case, we're going to bet 100 to win 85. But it's okay. I mean, I've tried this week to stay away from sure things from the negative juices. But that's one of the ones I wanted to take. I definitely wanted to take the Red Sox at home in the Red Sox Yankee series. So we'll go there. Nats money line. I'm riding Kyle Schwarber. Clippers money line. They're a home dog, which is weird, especially after last game. But we'll talk about it. And I'm going to go a little MLS. I know that Euros are the big thing right now, but there are too many countries that play soccer for me to keep up with. I'll be honest. The first couple matches, I thought it was like Olympic qualifying with all the stuff going on with Olympics. I thought it was something that it was absolutely not. So we're going to go to the MLS, and I'm going to take again a road team that's getting good odds. Both of these teams are plus money in this game, but I'm going with Chicago Fire money line over Philadelphia. JT, what do you got for us this Saturday?
First, I gotta say I love the fact that you've got what, one, two, three, four underdogs there.
Oh
That
yeah,
that's a great Saturday morning picking some dogs.
I figured if the hot streak's going to continue, I might as well increase my profits.
I got to start out here. We're gonna battle on this one. I'll get it out of the way early. Suns -1. I've been riding them all playoffs, and I think that last game there were some things that shouldn't happen again, but we can dive into that and see which one of us brings the better points later on. But yeah, we're gonna be battling there for the first time in probably at least a month since the
Yeah.
last time that we've had a battle there.
Yeah, typically when we have bets from the same game, we actually end up having versions of the same bet. So that's
Hmm.
I can't wait to talk about that one.
Yep. Uh, then I'm sticking with betting my Pirates every weekend. Pirates Cardinals under 8.5. We'll get into that. I'm going to the Euros. You're the soccer guy, but I'm going to take Italy money line versus Austria. Um, Last game for today is my Jacob DeGrom parlay. He's going for the Mets. I've got Mets money line, Mets Phillies under 6.5, and Jacob DeGrom's strikeout line. It hasn't come out yet, but should be around 6.5, 7.5. And I'll get
Hmm.
into why I like that later on. And then my last pick is a Sunday game. The Yankees money line going up against the Red Sox, the last game of that great series, greatest rivalry in sports. And yeah, those are my five picks for the weekend.
I like that. So we both like the series between between the Yankees and the Red Sox. I like a Saturday game for the Red Sox. You like a Sunday game for the Yankees. So before we get into why we like that, was the 3-2-1 and JT's best bets here on Brewed Bets, where the coffee's strong and the bets are stronger. So let's get into talking about our picks a little bit. We'll go back to the 3-2-1 Chicago White Sox minus a run and a half. This is purely because they got smacked last night. In the top of the eighth at home, it was Seattle 8, White Sox 1. Final score 9-3. The White Sox have been wheeling a little bit here. They've been in a little bit of a slump. They've taken some losses. I think 7 of the last 9, maybe 10, they've lost. But they're too good offensively to not get back on track. And
Hmm.
more than that, Seattle's not good enough to keep them off of the rails. If you catch my drift there, I don't think that it's going to be another game like that. I can see an offensive explosion here today, and they're dogs with the run line, so which is weird. I mean, I
And
know that. Go
oh
ahead.
no, go ahead.
I wanted they're not dogs on the run line, but they almost the way that the money lines were setting up, it was almost like they were home dogs against the Mariners. So I'm actually going to take the run and a half, and that's why I went that direction, solely because they got smacked around last night.
Hmm. And Lance Lynn as a dog, that probably hasn't happened too much this year because he's been pitching
Mhm.
well. He had a rough outing against the Astros last time out, but before that, he was. I don't think he gave up more than a run or more than 2 runs in like his last 5 starts before that. So I think you're on the right spot here. That he's going to bounce back well. The White Sox as a team will bounce back, and you'll get a big win.
Absolutely. I love it when JT backs me up with stats. That way I don't have to. So then we got the Rockies going up against the Brewers on the road. Look, Milwaukee or Colorado has been sneakily good on the road, right? And when
Mhm,
we see series upsets, right, we know, I think sometimes I forget in baseball that a win is in the series is determined by who wins the best out of those 3 or 4 games, right?
mhm,
And I think if I could be candid with you, JT, a lot of the times when the team that's supposed to win the game loses, I feel like it's the Saturday loss. I feel like Saturday's the day that they do it. They get the Thursday win, the Friday night win. Saturday they stumble, they rest their players. Sunday they finish strong, and then they head on out to the next
mhm.
series. I like getting an extra $70 just for taking Milwaukee here, especially considering how good they've been on the road this year. So I'm going with Milwaukee, or I'm going with Colorado to take one from the Brewers. Kristen Yelich he's on my fantasy team, so I know this. He spent about, God, for what felt like 3 months on the IL, and he's missed a lot of games. They're still resting him and nursing him. But I mean, he's still, when he's in the game, he's doing his thing, but he's just not the same because he's
Yeah.
coming back off an injury. And I don't know, there's just something about it. I like the Rockies to take this one away. So then we'll go to the Red Sox money line. Look, I love watching the Yankees lose. That's what this is. And keep in mind, when I made these decisions, I'm on a hot streak, so I feel like the betting gods are on my side. And if the betting gods are on my side, I feel like they will take affiliation into play. And I just love when the Yankees lose. And there's no better way to watch the Yankees lose than to the Red Sox. So I'm going to take the Red Sox money line. I know that they're the favorite to win the game. And that's why you see the juice there, the extra $15 juice there. But I'm going to lay that. I'm going to eat that because I think in a day game here at Fenway, the Red Sox get it done. I alluded to this next pick in the opening when we were just going briefly through the 3-2-1. I'm taking the Nats money line because I am all on the Schwarber bus. Okay. I'm all about it. I threw up a stat yesterday. Shout out to Sports Shift Media. Go like and follow us everywhere on social media at Sports Shift Media. But I shared a little bit of statistical data on there, and Schwarber has been on a tear. He's hit 12 home runs in the last 2 weeks. Okay, so that's 12 home runs in 14 days. In the history of the MLB, there's only ever been 12 players to hit a dozen home runs in 2 weeks. And two of them are Barry Bonds. He did it in 99 and 2001. And in the 2001 campaign, he did it with 13. So that's how rare this tear that Kyle Schwarber has been on is. And I'm going to be honest with you. It doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. I mean, he has faced some good pitching. He's faced some good defense, but there's no defense for dingers, baby. And that's
Yeah.
all he's doing. He's just hitting bombs, and I love it. It would be great to see him, as much as a Nationals fan as I am. There was just something about Cubby Blue that I liked about him. But they didn't use him right. The Nats are, and he's happy. So I'm going to continue riding Schwarber's train. I'm going to take the Nats money line. We'll swing over to the NBA, Clippers plus 100. And this is where we're going against each other here, JT. And typically, historically on this show, when we go against each other, one of us will say something that sways the other's opinion, right? And here's my sales pitch for taking the Clippers money line today. First of all, anytime you can get a home team plus money, this is even money here, pretty much.
Mhm.
Um, you got to go with it. Number one. Number two, let's talk about X's and O's because you can't just say, hey, they're home dogs, take them, because home dogs lose all the time. There's one distinct characteristic in this series with the Suns that has been absent from every other series. And that's a defender that can get up in Devin Booker. And that's exactly what Patrick Beverly has been doing. And I just don't know with their backs against the wall here because, look, I know the series is 2-1, and I know the last game was close. Okay. But if the Suns go back home up 3-1, this series is over.
Hmm.
The Clippers know it. The fans know it. Everyone on the court will know it. And I think Patrick Beverley has another stellar defensive performance. I think Paul George continues to do what he does. I've always liked Paul George as a solo act more than I've liked him paired with a superstar. I feel bad for Kawhi. Yet again, here we are, another opportunity for him to get to the finals, and he gets hurt. At least this time, it's not on an ankle when someone's tracing down or closing out on a 3-pointer. But
Hmm.
I know he's out. I get all that, but there's something to be said for the bothering nature with which Patrick Beverley is playing defense on Devin Booker right now, and that means to me you're going to put it on Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton. And for that reason, I think the Clippers will be in this game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout one way or the other. I think it's going to be a good game, and the game could obviously go either direction. Those are the only two outcomes. We don't have ties in basketball, but for that reason, paired with them being a home dog with even money, I'm taking it. What do you think about that?
I'm still keeping with my pick, but those
I
are a
love
bunch of
it.
good points.
I love it. So we'll hear JT's reasoning for sticking with the Suns when we get to his best bets. But let's wrap up the 3-2-1. Chicago Fire going to the MLS side of things here on Brewed Bets. I'm going to take Chicago Fire's money line versus Philadelphia. Like I said, they were both plus money. I believe Philadelphia was plus 135, which means that at Chicago Fire being plus 150, this is a toss up. Either team could win this game. And I love games like this. Typically, those are the most fun games. You don't like games when there's a heavy favorite, when you see the minus 375s, minus 450s. You don't like games like that. So when you see a game where they're going, anything could happen. And the thing that I love most about it, JT, is at the time I placed this bet, the draw was actually the least favorable bet based on the line. So that tells me that there will be a winner. Vegas thinks there'll be a winner. They just
Hmm.
don't know who it's going to be. They're leaning towards Philadelphia at plus 135, but for an extra $15, I'm going to take the 150. I'm going to take the Chicago Fire. My wife and my mother-in-law love Chicago Fire on television, so why not roll with it? Because look, when you're on a heater, you don't need real reasons to take teams. So that's what I'm going with. That's the 3-2-1. Hopefully I keep it going. If I don't, I'm going to jump off a bridge, but that is okay. So we'll throw it over to JT. Save the Suns for last because that's a fun conversation to have. So let's
Okay.
start with your second best bet: Pirates Cardinals under 8.5, and take it away with JT's best bets.
All right. Well, JT Brubaker is going for the Pirates. I think we've brought it up a few times here when we talk about the Pirates Saturday mornings. He's probably their most consistent pitcher,
Mm-hmm.
and the under is actually 5-1-1 in his last 7 starts. And then on the
Ooh.
other side, Adam Wainwright is coming around. He struggled to begin the season, but he's won 2 of his last 3. So I think Wainwright continues to pitch well. Brubaker, he usually he's not always pitching his best, but even his worst is only giving up 2 or 3 runs. He's not one of those guys that's going to blow up and give up like a 6 spot on you. So I like that under because I think it's going to be a two pitchers going out and pitching a strong like 6 or 7 inning performance. So I think under 8.5 is a pretty easy bet. My second one is Italy versus Austria. I was looking around at the soccer games today because I needed an extra game, and I noticed that Italy won all 3 of their games during the first stage without giving up a goal. And they've been on, I believe they've won at least 10 straight games and haven't given up a goal since October. So I think they continue that. It's a pretty heavy juiced game. It's Italy minus 195. But when you're struggling like I am, you have to go search for definite things. The juice only matters if they lose. So I'm going to go with that one.
I like that. You said it the best. When you are struggling, you need to go with things that you think. Well, first of all, let's just shout out to if you're struggling with gambling, 1-800 Gambler. They'll help you out. But I say that because the smart thing when you're struggling would be just to stop betting, but we can't do that.
Yeah, we don't do that.
So I'm with you. When you're on the strug bus, it's a confidence thing. Gambling is a lot like the sports themselves. It's a competitive thing, and you want to be mentally better than Vegas. And
Hmm.
so when you're struggling and the bus is on the strug lane, you got to go with sure things, and I think that's a good one right there. Um, Even with the juice, roll with it.
Yep, that's kind of my thought process for a lot of these games this week. I'll just get it out of the way quick. The Yankees game tomorrow, Garrett Cole's going for the Yankees.
No
Uh,
brainer.
Even without him pitching with the sticky stuff, he still is one of the top pitchers in the game. And Eduardo Rodriguez for the Red Sox, he's got a 6.50 ERA, giving up 3 or more runs in each of his last 8 starts. The Yankees going up. Eduardo Rodriguez is a lefty. Yankees aren't a lefty killer, but their splits do favor lefties, so they hit a little better against them. So I think for those reasons, the Yankees money line, even though it's going to be juiced up, is another one that's easy to take. So two big favorites. If I lose those games, I might not be betting next week. So we'll see what happens.
If this is a solo show next week, ladies and gentlemen, it's because JT did not have a good Saturday.
Yeah. Before we get to the Suns game, I'll get my Jacob DeGrom parlay out of the way. For anybody that's not watching, he's putting up one of the most dominating seasons of all time. 0.5 ERA. The Phillies, they are third in the league in strikeouts. So they go up to the plate swinging for the fences. They don't. They miss a lot. So I think against Jacob DeGrom, that's not a good recipe. I believe he won his only start against the Phillies early on this season. I think he had 7 strikeouts. I think that's right around where the strikeout line is going to be at. But I think he goes out and has a great performance. So I'm going Mets money line, Mets Phillies under 6.5, and then DeGrom strikeout total, whatever it ends up being.
That's a strong parlay. I mean, listen, if we're going to be honest, if you really wanted to make money on any given season, you could just bet all of DeGrom starts, and you'd probably get
Mm-hmm.
substantially more wins than you do losses. Just anytime DeGrom is on the mound, take the Mets, whether it's the money line. Don't go with the runs because that's a little up there, but take the Mets because chances are they're coming out on top of that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really my thought process. Is every time I have it just marked on my calendar. Every time I see Jacob DeGrom going out on the mound, I'm throwing money on it. But
Love it. Well,
uh,
let's get into the big one here because this is where we differ. And we already had someone present their case and we have not been able to sway. So the last chance for us to get on the same page is for you to explain why you're sticking with the Suns -1. So take that away for me.
So the first thing that stuck out in my mind is I'm not sure why the Suns are 1 point favorites. That they escaped with a win on that buzzer beater in game 2, and then the Clippers really came out and played the best possible basketball game they could in game 3, and they won by what the final score ended up being in that game. That was
It
they
was
won
like
by
103, 102, something
no,
like
that
that.
was game 2. Game 3, the
Oh, okay.
Clippers won by 14.
Okay.
So the Clippers are trending in that direction that I would have thought at home they would. I thought this would be the other way, maybe Clippers -1, Clippers -2. So Vegas is coming out. They still believe in the Suns, and if you look at it, there's a lot of things in game 3 that happened that I don't think happen again. Chris Paul and Devin Booker, they combined to shoot 10 of 40. Chris Paul missed 16 shots. That's not typical of him. Then on the other side, Zubek, forget his first name, but he had 15 points and was really cleaning up on the boards, had 16 boards. But he had double figures for the first time in his last 17 games. Or he had one other double digit performance in his last 17 games.
Mm.
So you have that. defensive intensity that you talked about a little bit from Patrick Beverly. The whole team really seemed to ramp up. They were ready for that. And you kind of see that in game three sometimes. The first time back at home, you've got the home crowd behind you. I just don't think that all of those things are going to be able to match up at the same time again.
Sure.
I think Devin Booker might play without the mask
Hmm.
tonight. I think that bothered him. Chris Paul's first game back. And I'm not sure if he's going to play, but the point guard, the backup point guard that went off in game two. Um, why am I drawing a blank?
I'm blanking on his name too.
I'm pulling it up quick
You,
because
you keep talking. I'll pull it up.
um campaign. Sorry, uh,
Yes,
I already was in the Suns thing on my app.
campaign.
Great name, by the way. I
Yes.
love that.
Shout out Michigan State.
But so if he is going, he was injured for game three. So if he goes, I think the thing that the Clippers do is they play a drop zone. And a lot of these guards, if you have Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, and Campaign, the thing that they do well is coming off that pick and roll, the pull up for the mid range jumper. And if you're playing a drop zone on that pick and roll, then you're just giving guys that mid range jumper. So
Mm,
I think they come back, Suns strong, and I think they win this one at least by a couple points. But I think it's going to be a close game either way.
okay. So we're gonna end up having opposing bets on this one because everything you just said actually made me feel better about my pick. The one thing we know in sports, okay, defense travels. You made a point there, and you said that the whole team's energy was different. I agree with you. I do not think that the whole team is going to come out with the same defensive intensity that they did in game three. And you're right. Game threes, especially when the team is down 0-2, game threes are always that way. But the one thing that will not change in this game is Patrick Beverly's defensive intensity. That's kind of where he hangs his hat.
Mm-hmm.
Another point you made that I think exemplifies my belief in Pat Beverly's ability to disturb Devin Booker, mask or not. How many times do we see Chris Paul shoot enough to have missed 16 attempts? Like if
Yeah.
you're telling me that he's going to have to shoot that leads me to believe that that's how effective Patrick Beverly has been. Do I think that he's going to shut Devin Booker down again? No, you can't shut someone like Devin Booker down completely. But is he going to drop 30 plus points? Maybe 25 plus points? I don't know. I don't think so. I really don't. And the defense, again, defense will travel, and I think that that was one of the key factors for me in that game 3 win. Now, yeah, it was nice that he had all the support of his teammates coming out on fire. But this series is alive again, and they know it. If they can go back 2-2 and get one more win or one more game at home and get that win and take it to a game 7, that's their plan right now. I don't think you can realistically say they're going to go take game 5 in Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
But if they can get a win tonight, come back and even it up with a win at home in game 6, they can force a game 7. I like the Clippers to win here. But so we'll see though. You made great points. I think I've made some good points. Just nothing either one of us has said is swaying us, which is atypical on this show.
But on top of that, too, Vegas is split too because I mean, being the
Right.
Suns at -1, this
Mhm.
really is a toss-up game. That it's not unusual that we would be on opposite sides of this because pretty much the whole country is probably on opposite sides of this.
Right. And something so based on the conversation we've had surrounding this game and one comment you made, it's odd that they're underdogs, right?
Hmm.
It's odd that they're underdogs in this game. Do you think that this is a trap bet? Do you think
So
that Vegas is setting up a trap because it's like, wait a minute, the Suns, they're good. They're better than the Clippers, and they're even -1. It kind of sounds like it could be a trap bet.
it could be, but I based on the Clippers winning by 14, I would have expected them to be the 1 point favorites. So that almost leads me to believe that it's a trap I think they're trapping us one way or the other. I think they're either trying to say that, I mean, that's what they do. Vegas is very good at trying to trap people into just betting with their eyes instead of uh, the information that they have. But
Yeah.
this one, I'm going to be interested. I think that we should maybe come back tomorrow and do a little quick episode to talk about however this game plays out. Just
Mhm.
see which one of us was wrong and talk out what actually happened.
I like that. Maybe do a little halftime recap and then do a little after the post game recap. We can do that. I like that because I mean, this is going to be a very interesting game. I think right now this is the most. Will be the most interesting game of both conference finals. I don't think it's the most interesting series because what Atlanta is doing is phenomenal. Although they got bent over and spanked yesterday, but I think that this will be the most exciting game of both series, and I say that fully aware of the alley-oop buzzer beater from game 2. So I think it's going to be a good game. So yeah, I'm down to talk about that. But we will blast that out again. Make sure you're following us at Sports Shift Media on Twitter, on Facebook. Sports with BJ is my handle. At JTZ4 is Jake's handle. We'd love to interact with you. We'd love to see you on our social medias talking sports with us. But this is a gambling show. We are Brewed Bets, where the coffee is strong and the bets are stronger. JT, I did not walk out of Pale Horse with any product last week, and I feel horrible about it. So I think I'm going to have to go back, and I'm going to have to get a bag of that blueberry that I had last week because
That was pretty good.
it was very, very good. I don't know that I could drink it on a consistent basis, but sometimes you want coffee, but you don't really want the taste of coffee.
Hmm.
And that's what I found with that blueberry. It's good at all times, but it's also good in those rare times.
I feel like that would be a good one too. That on a hot day, a hot summer day, would be good iced. I think that's a good iced
Oh,
coffee.
yes. Yeah, okay. What so let's say that we're drinking that at breakfast. Do we think that blue because we've both had this blueberry coffee that we're talking about from Pale Horse. We both tried it last time we were together. Brewed Bets was live at Pale Horse Coffee. Again, shout out to the sponsors. Thank you so much for your hospitality that day. It was phenomenal. We had a great time. The video is live if you want to check it out. You can go to any of our media sites and find it. But do you think that blueberry coffee would go good with something like blueberry waffles or waffles with blueberry syrup?
Um,
Or would that
I,
be overkill?
so I'm a little nervous about that just being too much blueberry going on, but I think it's worth a shot at least because I mean I think that coffee would pair well with just about any breakfast food. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's a nice light flavor that everybody go buy a bag and give it a shot, and then we can talk about
yeah.
it next episode.
Absolutely. Visit them at palehorsecoffee.com. Visit everything. We're working on a promo code. We are working on a promo code for y'all so that you could go plug in Brewed Bets and maybe get some percentage of discount off your cart when you buy online. You could also message us. We have a store set up through them. You can message us at Sports Shift Media on Facebook or Twitter and order, and we will order and ship for you. So lots of ways to get their coffee in your belly because it is worth every sip and every drip. I like that. I don't
Uh,
know if it's redundant, but I like it.
no, you're good. Uh, that's your specialty is coming up with phrases like that.
That is true. The creativity in my brain is bar none. But we'll go through our picks one more time because we are about to wrap up here on Brewed Bets. So the 3-2-1, I'm taking the White Sox money line or -1.5. I'm taking the Rockies on the money line. I'm taking the Red Sox on the money line. I'm taking Kyle Schwarber on the money line. I say that for a reason. I'm taking the Clippers tonight. Just win, baby, win. Al Davis, RIP. And then I'm taking the Chicago Fire to beat Philadelphia in the MLS. JT's best bets. He's going Oppo. We got to keep a close eye on this one, everybody. We've got opposing picks, but he's going Suns -1. The Pirate Cardinals game under 8.5. Italy money line in the Euros. Sunday night baseball. He's going Yankees on the money line. And we're going to parlay Jacob deGrom because why not? He's typically a winner. We're going to go over his strikeout count. It opened at 6.5. We'll take that confidently up to 7.5, and we're going to parlay that with the Mets money line. This has been Brewed Bets. JT, close us out.
Just always remember, bet responsibly, and we'll see you next week.